Okay, someone asked me if violating the rules of professional conduct, if those are ethical violations. I have the answer. Yes, violating the rules of professional conduct is indeed a form of ethical violation. These rules often developed by the associations like the American Bar Association outline the standards of conduct expected of professionals, including lawyers. Breaches of these rules can lead to disciplinary actions such as suspension or even disbarment. Here's a more detailed explanation. Rules of professional conduct. These rules are designed to ensure that the professional act ethically and uphold the integrity of their profession. They address various aspects of professional conduct, including client relationships, confidentiality, conflicts of interest, and more. Ethical violations. When professionals disregard or violate these rules, it constitutes an ethical violation. These violations can range from major oversights to serious breaches of trust. Consequences. Depending on the severity of the violation, professionals may face disciplinary measures such as formal reprimand, suspension from practice, or even disbarment. Examples of violations. Examples of ethical violations include misrepresenting facts, failing to communicate with clients. I've been telling people for years that's breaking the law. Communication is mandatory. It's the law when it comes to a client-lawyer relationship. Communication is mandatory. It's one of the first rules in the rules of professional conduct, and all those rules are law. Okay, examples of ethical violations include misrepresenting facts, which often happens, slap suits, failing to communicate with clients, breaching confidentiality, or engage in conflicts of interest. Breaching confidentiality is, I used to go to criminal court to help. They were strangers, but people I didn't know, but try to help them. And first thing I would try to get them to do is ask for a probable cause hearing. And when they would ask a public defender for a probable cause hearing, the public defender will usually say the judge don't like this. For the most part, they were trying to get these people to sign a piece of paper saying, sign this and you can leave. And I had to let these people know they were leaving with felonies, and which is totally ineffective assistance of counsel, even just asking someone to sign that without them giving informed consent. And remember, informed consent requires reasonable knowledge to make an informed decision before you can give that informed consent. And the case can't move forward until you give said informed consent. And how can you give informed consent when you don't even know the rules of professional conduct exist, which is your lawyer's job description? Okay? Every lawyer and judge's legal obligations to you in a court of law or any proceedings in any court of law. Okay, conflicts of interest. Okay, legal malpractice. In some cases, ethical violation can also be grounds for legal malpractice claim when a client can sue for damages caused by a lawyer's negligence or breach of duty. If you've seen that other video I did on the rule of professional conduct, it's impossible to violate one rule without violating multiple rules, and said violations of the rules or the codes are always willingly and wantingly. Okay, because remember, when you cite your lawyer for legal malpractice, you can also get the judge for judicial misconduct, and if a state's attorney, prosecutorial misconduct, because it was their duty to cite your attorney for said violations of the rules of professional conduct. Failure to report misconduct is misconduct. Reporting violations. Many professional organizations also have mechanisms for reporting ethical violations committed by members, allowing for the investigation and potential disciplinary action. See, it says right here, reporting professional misconduct. That's mandatory in the rules of professional conduct. When do ethical violations become legal? Okay, some examples. Rules of professional conduct for lawyers. Are there ethical rules regarding legal, foundations for law, discipline? Now remember, there's supposed to be zero tolerance for said violations of the rules of professional conduct, simply because these are the legal learned professionals. Okay, they know a whole lot you don't. So when you're there, you want perfection. That's what you pay them for, and that you don't get. Okay, misconduct. That tells you violating any of the rules of professional conduct is misconduct. Specifically, failure to report misconduct is misconduct. Remember, reporting misconduct is mandatory. Is violation of professional ethical standards. Violations of these ethical codes can range from major oversights to serious breach of trust. Examples including fabricating or falsifying data, failing to obtain proper informed consent. Now remember again, I told you about informed consent. Informed consent is necessary before a case proceeds. And in order to give that informed consent, you need reasonable knowledge to make an informed decision. Okay, and thus far, you lack the reasonable knowledge to make an informed decision, especially if you're watching this video or any of the other videos I watch, because everything I talk about are the constitutional duties of our public servants, all right? They're not just your constitutional rights. That's their constitutional duties, okay? They are legally obligated. It's a binding contract, non-negotiable. What is professional and ethical misconduct? Typically, it encompasses actions that fail to meet the standards of expected of a profession in their field, which may include breaches of ethics, negligence, or actions that undermine public trust or violate the legal standards. Remember, when they talk about the public trust, you have to read the public trust doctrine to understand it, and then you would understand the legal system is part of the public trust. I was watching a video, some lady was talking about how when going to college used to be free. Yes, it used to be free because it's part of the public trust. But for some reason, politics between the politicians and the legal system, they decided to privatize it. All kinds of people made money off of privatizing something that was meant to be, it was in the public trust. It was meant for the public interest. Okay, now imagine if it was free for you to go to law school, you would know everything I'm talking about, and you wouldn't be going through what you're going through, which is I call living under the color of law. You'll have to look up under the color of law to understand the legal implications behind that, okay? Under the color of law, which basically means what you think is legal is illegal. You only think it's legal because the legal profession did this. But if you knew the laws, then you would know that, privatizing anything in the public trust was illegal. What are the ethical violations? What is professional conduct and ethical standards? Okay, ethical and professional conduct and collection of ethical behaviors, business conduct, including academia, where individuals are expected to respect key moral principles such as honesty and fairness and abide by ethical codes and standards of an organization or profession. What is Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct? Okay. Professional ethics are principles that govern the behavior of a person or a group in a business environment. Remember, it's not only in the public sector, but it's in business environment as well. What are some principles of professional ethics? What is used to define unprofessional conduct? Unprofessional conduct is generally defined as behavior that violates a profession's codes of ethics, falls below the standard of care, or poses a risk to public safety or well-being. Specific examples include negligence, incompetence, misconduct, and violations of patient confidentiality or ethical guidelines. Key aspects of unprofessional conduct. Violates professional standards. These include failing to meet expected levels of knowledge, skills, and performance in a profession. Negligence or incompetence, failing to provide adequate care or demonstrating a lack of competence in performing professional duties. That goes for doctors as well as lawyers. Misconduct, engaging in unethical or illegal actions that harm patients, clients, or the profession as a whole. Note to public safety, actions that endanger patients, clients, or the public, such as practicing without proper qualifications or violating patient confidentiality. Violation of ethical guidelines, breaking the rules or principles set by a profession, organization, or code of conduct. In courts, that's called the Rule of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct. Examples for unprofessional conduct in medicine: failing to meet the standard of care, prescribing drugs inappropriately, engaging in sexual misconduct with patients, or practicing while impaired. In law, misrepresenting information to the court, neglecting a client's case, or violating attorney-client privilege. In other fields, disclosing confidential information, violating patient privacy, or engaging in abusive behavior. Consequences of unprofessional conduct: disciplinary action. Professional organization or licensing board may issue warnings, suspensions, or revocations of licenses. Legal action: individuals may have civil lawsuits for negligence or criminal charges of violations of law. Damage to reputation: unprofessional conduct can severely harm an individual's reputation and career. What is the first step in ethical decision making? Remember, informed consent, people. It's rare that you get that or give that, and it's rare that it's even sought after. So that is an ethical violation. Okay. Remember, communication. Did anybody communicate that to you? Is it unprofessional? Is unprofessional conduct illegal? Legal compliance. Unprofessional conduct can lead to legal consequences, including lawsuits, fines, and even the revocation of a professional license. But remember, when they took the oath, okay, all professionals, like in the legal arena, the political world, doctors, they all take an oath. And violating said oath requires fines, removal from public service, no maybes, removal from public service, and incarceration. Okay, just thought I'd remind you that in case you missed it in one of my other videos. Rule 8.4, misconduct, American Bar Association. I like to use theirs because that's the motto. It has all the rules. In some states, they eliminated some of the rules, which is illegal. And the preamble clearly states, all laws must be in the public interest and not in the interest of the bar, and removing any rule specifically 3.8 special responsibilities of the prosecutor. A few states have removed that, and that's illegal. That was in the interest of the bar. Rules of professional conduct for lawyers. When do ethical violations become legal malpractice? So that'll explain it more there to you. I'm just trying to make this as short as possible. Okay, if you can say something nice, you might be violating the rules. If you can't say something nice, you might be violating the rules. Yes, in the preamble of the Rules of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct, manners, being polite, showing respect is required. Is required. So if you read the preamble in the Rules of Professional Conduct, that'll tell you right there. Okay? And when they get loud and, they can't even lie. They can't lie in court, what they do. You'd have to read the rules. I went over a video of the Rules of Professional Conduct, but it was too short. But the way I always tell people, the easiest way to teach them the rules of professional conduct is to get them to read it themselves. And if they want to discuss with me the rules afterwards, I'm more than willing. Beforehand, no, because that just means I wind up reading it to them for them. But it comes to you a lot easier if you read it yourself. Okay, and remember to hold that to the letter of the law. Letter of the law is a legal mandate requiring all that be done word for word to the letter. Attorney ethics violations, examples, rules of professional conduct for lawyers. Are there ethical rules regarding legal malpractice? 3 commonly violated ethic rules. Okay, so we're going to go back to the top. There's a lot more you can learn on your own. But remember, violating the rules of professional conduct or the Code of Judicial Conduct are ethical violations. Okay. Let's see. Okay, to file an ethics complaint, you generally need to know who or what organization the violation concerns. For example, if it's a city official, you would file with the city's Board of Ethics or Office of Inspector General. If it's a lawyer, you'll file with the state's Attorney Disciplinary Board. For federal employees, it would be Office of Congressional Ethics or relevant federal agency ethics office. Here's a more detailed breakdown. City officials file with municipal clerk's office, Board of Ethics, lawyers, State's Attorney Disciplinary Board. In Illinois, it's called the Illinois Attorney Registration Disciplinary Commission. Federal employees contact the Office of Congressional Ethics or relevant federal agencies. Professional organizations, some organizations like ASHA, Speech Language Hearing Professions, and social workers have their own ethics boards for complaints against members. Realtors file with local association of realtors where the realtor is a member. State government. So in case you people didn't know that any of this existed, I like to read a lot. Not as much as I used to. Suffering from these headaches really bad that put me in a bad way. So most of these videos are short because I'm dealing with these migraines, and they take me down, and they're really painful. So as long as my vision can hold out, I'll talk to you. Sometimes it's only for 10 minutes, sometimes it's for 20. Sometimes I talk too long and the headaches kick in and I don't even sound right. I know there's 2 videos that I didn't sound too good, but I was doing my best to finish what I had to say before I finished them. So just know that I'm dealing with some health issues, okay? And that's why I'm doing my best to put most of this in video form, because people weren't reading my posts. They were asking questions about the law, and instead of explaining it to them, I gave them the law, or a whole bunch of laws that weren't being abided by. That's what my page Legal Reform is about, living under the color of law. A lot of things that are supposed to be done that aren't being done. A lot of laws that aren't being enforced, and yet alone being penalized for breaking those laws. And these are public servants. I've seen people get locked up for protesting peacefully. But, I've never seen judge or lawyer go to prison for violating the rules of code or codes. That's due process. Without effective assistance of counsel, you'll never have a fair trial. You'll never see due process. And it all starts with the rules and the codes. Okay, the Rules of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct is what you need. And take it with you when you go into court and demand the judge and the lawyers and everybody in that courtroom play by the rules and the codes. All right? Failure to do so not only proves ineffective assistance of counsel, but the ineffectiveness of the court. Remember, the Rules of Professional Conduct is a double-edged sword that cuts no matter which way you swing it, because the Rules of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct are mandatory in every court of law. All right? These apply to every lawyer and judge. These are the legal obligations of all lawyers and judges. Okay, and I'm telling you that you have to report them, because they're not going to report each other. You walk into the courtroom, tell the judge to report your attorney for ineffective assistance of counsel, if it's the state's attorney for prosecutorial misconduct, and themselves for judicial misconduct. Failure to report this misconduct thus far puts you in contempt of the court, the very court you preside over. It's the state's attorney's obligation to cite my attorney for ineffective assistance of counsel, you for judicial misconduct, and themselves for prosecutorial misconduct. Failure to do so is misconduct, which just adds to this conspiracy to deprive me of my constitutional rights under the color of law. It's also my attorney's duty not just to report himself for ineffective assistance of counsel, but the judge for judicial misconduct, the state's attorney for prosecutorial misconduct, and any other lawyer standing in the courtroom aware of all this misconduct. Failure to do so is misconduct. Reporting misconduct is mandatory by all. Failure to do so, these are beyond ethics violations. Talk about cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, people, I'm going to end this, but there's a lot you can learn on your own. Take advantage of my disadvantage. My disadvantage was needing the Dewey Decimal System to find this information and dig for it, but now you have the internet, 70s, 80s, 90s. It was hard digging this stuff up, but I got there. And I'm just doing my best to make it as easy as possible for you. All right? Nothing but love for you. May there always be peace and love in your life. And may your Creator rain many blessings. Thank you and good night.